Good morning, and welcome to You Be the Judge. On location from Washington, D.C., today we'll be visiting with one of those lawmakers that decides what laws govern our nation, our own Senator Robert Casey. We'll be with him in his Capitol Office building, once occupied by then Senator John F. Kennedy, later the President of the United States. We're in the historic offices of Senator Robert Casey, the offices that once belonged to a young senator from Massachusetts by the name of John Kennedy. But first, the most important business, happy birthday.
Thanks, Todd. Great to be with you.
A significant birthday.
Thank you very much. My sister Margie's as well. We won't give out any ages.
Okay, that's fair enough. Senator, this is a pretty special place. It's got to be to anybody that loves politics and history. I noticed the sign on the door, John Kennedy's office. How did you happen to be assigned to this office?
Well, it was, I guess fortuitous might be the word. Every 2 years, when the new Congress starts, every senator has to decide whether they want to stay in their office or move. And when it comes to your turn, I was down the list a little ways. Senator Judd Gregg from New Hampshire was moving out of this office because Vice President Biden had just been elected and he was moving out. So Judd Gregg was moving into his space downstairs. This office became available, and we were told it was the office that John Kennedy had, where John Kennedy had his office in the 1950s when he was in the Senate for the 7 to 8 years he was here prior to being elected president. He was here, I guess, from 53 to 1960. It was available, and we moved in, and we're fortunate to have any office, but there's a lot of historic significance to this office. We're grateful.
Well, I noticed some of the beautiful pictures that you have with the President and Jackie and the desk sitting right in front of that fireplace there. And,
yeah.
You know, it has to be a great spot to work. But
it really is.
You're also surrounded by memories of the coal country that your father and grandfather grew up in.
I've always tried in the office, the public offices that I've been in here and also in Harrisburg, to have reminders about my heritage. Now, it didn't impact my life. I never had to work in a coal mine, fortunately. Neither did my father. But I think both of us, in our own way, have been inspired by the service and the sacrifice and the real labor that went into that work. My grandfather was in the mines, Alphonsus Casey, as a young boy, just like many young kids in northeastern Pennsylvania in the early part of the last century. And we need reminders of that history and that heritage, because it does inspire and really inform the work that we do today, especially when we see the tragedy that took place a couple of days ago in West Virginia.
You know, my grandfather as well, on my mother's side, my grandfather Boland started out his career as a breaker boy and ended up being involved in the mining industry in the middle of the 20th century. And you look at the lives, you know, there's something about those that grew up in the coal country, even after the mines were closed. I say it's the coal dust in our blood that, I mean, from a political standpoint, the tremendous successes that you've enjoyed, and your dad, and so many others that came out of that work ethic. But we also have people like John A. Walsh now, where they had ESPN,
right.
And so many others. It's a great place to live, isn't it?
Oh, we're so lucky, just so fortunate. I have the honor to serve in the Senate, and also not to have to live in any other neighborhood than the one I live in the Hill section. And so I was fortunate to have grown up in North Washington Avenue and Greenridge, and then later Teresa and I bought a house in the Hill section, have been there since 1991. But other than a limited period of time in college and law school and a few years after that, I've been able to live in Scranton all these years, now 50 years.
Now, when we talk about success stories from the coal country, we can't forget our Vice President, Joe Biden, whose mother recently passed away, but the Finnegan family have been a part of the fabric of Scranton for hundreds of years, and they've grown up through the coal country, and of course, anyone who's followed politics knows the affinity that the vice president has for Green Ridge in the city of Scranton.
And at the same time, I know he's been inspired by that same history and heritage, and we're so proud of him and his work. He's done work that brought all of his experience from the Senate into the vice president's office, but also, I think, a real passion for standing up for workers and their families and standing up for those who often don't have a voice, and we're very proud of his work.
When we come back, Senator, I want to talk to you a little bit about that tragedy in West Virginia and the whole idea of workplace safety. I know you have the opportunity to serve on the committee that's going to be doing some investigations, and I know your interest in this area is important. So please stay tuned to you be the judge.